welcome to another episode of that deep shit where we connect the dots, you and I, dot to dot, connected. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about the Clairs and not Claire Huxtable. Let's get it. So, what are the Clairs? The Clairs are a group of extra senses, like how you have your five senses: sight, smelling, hearing, tasting, touching. You also have the Clairsenses, like Clairvoyance, Clairaudience, Clairsentience, Claircognizance, and so on and so forth. There's a few more, you know what I'm saying, and but we'll get into that. These Clairsenses is what you would call diving into the realm of the sixth sense, or into your psychic abilities, you know what I'm saying? And we all have access to the Clairsenses. Just some people have stronger senses than others, just like how some people can see better than others. Some people can hear better than others. Same thing when it comes down to your sixth sense or your psychic senses, you know what I'm saying? Or the Clairs, right? So what are the Clairs? The Clairs are Clairvoyance, Clairaudience. Well, first of all, Clairvoyance means the ability to have sight without actually using your eyes, to actually see things from the mind's eye. Clairaudience is the ability to actually hear things without using your actual ear. It's like hearing from the spirit realm, and I'll get into where that is in a moment, right? Claircognizant is when you just know. You know without knowing, you know what I'm saying? Claircognizance, like you get downloads of information that are not coming from a book, not coming from any outside influence. That's claircognizant. Then you have clairintellect, which is kind of like claircognizant, but it's like being able to process information. Clairintellect. Clairempathy is picking up on emotions psychically. And then there's clairsentient, and clairsentient is how you feel or touch. Not like emotions, not how like clairempathy, but clairsentient is like actually feeling, but not with feeling. Then there's clairtangency, which is a form of like touching psychically, like out touching psychically. Then there's some type of clair with smelling, I forgot what it's called. And then there's some type of clair with tasting, like clairgustance or something like that, right? So there's that. Now and there's more, but the basic five though kind of correlate with your five senses, right? And yeah. So, and the reason why this came up for me is because in the last few months I've had a few different instances with some energies or some entities in the spirit realm that I've never had before. I've never been touched. I've never felt touched. And I've always heard of people saying they've been touched or whatever, by a spirit. I've never had it. The first time that it happened, it was just like a little scoop in my ear like this when I was sleeping. Now, it was so blatant that it was like a finger in my ear, you know what I'm saying? That I was kind of freaked out, but at the same time, I was like, wow, that's a blessing to even have the awareness to know that just happened. And that's just one of my senses that is just open, you know what I mean? So that happened, and then maybe a few weeks later, I got a tap on my arm, like 3 taps. Woke me up out my sleep. So it wasn't a dream. The taps woke me out of my sleep. So it wasn't something that was going on in the dream world. This is what I'm trying to drive home. So it's something separate from a dream. Some people think that when they're seeing visions or if they're having clairvoyant images, that it's a dream. No, these senses are separate from the dream world. Okay, so that's important to understand. Now, with that being said, when it happened the second time, when I got the blatant taps, I realized that it was separate from the dream, and it made me ponder on all of the clairs. So again, I was kind of freaked out, but I was still feeling very thankful to even have that experience. So I was like, so I felt the tap, but it wasn't on my skin. How do you feel something that's not on your physical body where your nerves and senses are? So that made me ponder further that it is pretty much where your soul escapes your body and it's being touched there. You're being touched from the spiritual aspect outside of the physical aspect that's beyond, not outside, but more so beyond the physical aspect. And when your soul spills out beyond the physical aspect, or spirit, let me be more specific, spills out beyond the physical aspect, this is where you have your aura or your energy bodies. You have different levels of energy bodies, which further led me to ponder. And this is why, before I get to that, this is why you can, all your senses live in each energy body. So your first layer of your aura, you have senses, the clairs that live into that. The next layer of your aura, you have clairs that live into that aura, and so on and so forth. You can call these your seven heavens if you like. You know what I'm saying? Because you have 7 etheric bodies, right? If not more, but at least 7 etheric bodies. So all your senses do lie in each level of these bodies, but as your spirit or aura expands, these are also connected to dimensions or levels of consciousness where different entities may lay or have access to themselves. So this is why, depending on where your consciousness is in your etheric body, why you can experience, see, hear, touch, communicate with different entities that live outside these different layers of your aura. These layers of your aura are huge. They're not just like right here, like, oh, 7 layers right here. No, these 7 layers expand out throughout the universe. Facts without tax. You know what I'm saying? So, and one way that you can test this, or one way that you can validate this, that it's not just someone just running off at the mouth about some shit, you know what I'm saying, or making up some shit that sounds good. One way that you can test this, because this is what I always like to do. I like to give you validation, and I like to give you self-experiments that you can do yourself to understand, not just go off what I'm saying. You may or may not have had this, but have you ever been driving or sitting in a restaurant and you felt someone staring at you and you turned and looked and they were? You felt something. You see what I'm saying? You felt it without someone touching you. That means your aura felt it. Your aura touched it. Their energy touched your outside energy and it connected and you felt it without actually feeling. So they projected and you received, and the energies brushed up against each other. It's important to understand this concept, because once you understand the concept, you can cultivate it and practice, making each sense stronger. We all have access to all of these senses. We all have these senses. Some have more clairvoyance. Some more have clairaudience. Some more have claircognizance. You know what I'm saying? Which I have very strong claircognizance. But nonetheless, so, you know, so to cultivate these things and to practice these things makes them stronger. So this is just tips on how to exercise your psychic strengths and become more proficient in them. You know what I'm saying? All these videos that I drop are to do the work with, not just to make you feel good because I'm saying some shit that you haven't heard, or I'm saying some shit that you think is a secret. No, these are things to actually practice and actually use. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to everybody on YouTube who do the work. Shout out to everybody on YouTube who drop videos on the metaphysics, on the occult and the esoterics, and the deep divers and the deep knowledge seekers. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to all y'all, you know what I'm saying? Because, hey, we all we got, you know what I'm saying? So with that being said, you already know the drill. Log on newmysteryschool.com. Book a study session. Come talk to me. I'll talk back in a minute.